This episode of WoW Weekly is brought to you by WoWweekly.net, your source for Warcraft and Blizzard news, guides, and editorials.
This week in Warcraft, over these past 9 years, 100 million WoW accounts have been created. Mythic dungeons are now a thing that we could possibly see in the future, but just not at the start of the next expansion. And vengeance will no longer affect tank DPS in Warlords of Draenor. I'm Mezzy, and welcome to WoW Weekly. This week, I am joined by LJ. How are you, LJ?
Recovering from a hangover, but for the rest I'm fine. And yourself?
I'm okay. Not too bad. I'm tired, been very busy the last week. So I haven't been able to do much for the site either. Okay, what the hell was that?
Shit.
Well, as you can hear, we also have Matt joining us this week.
Hello.
How are you, Matt?
Not bad. That was a game that went off on my computer at the same time.
Oh no! How could that happen?
Don't know. Oops.
Okay. Well,
Flying start, huh?
that was amazing. Couldn't have made it any better.
Exactly.
Alright, so this is episode number 20. I'd say let's just get right into it. So, let me get my doc here so I know what we're talking about.
Sound's off now, by the way.
Okay. Way to go, Matt. Great start.
Yeah.
So, when asked about tank DPS and Vengeance in particular on Twitter, developer Celestalon said the following about the upcoming changes in Warlords of Draenor. In 6.0, Vengeance will no longer affect DPS. Instead, it will provide just the defensive side of what it does today. It will also affect threat if needed, but that's not likely. So right now, some of the tanks can pump out some pretty massive DPS when it comes to some encounters, where they might be able to solo tank it, for example, and thus make it feel like they're an extra DPS. So, Matt will know Thok Heroic is one particular fight where a single tank using Vengeance can give a lot of extra DPS to the encounter.
Yeah.
How do you look at these changes?
It makes sense at the end of the day. At the moment, you have a setup that is meant to build around each particular person being able to do their own specific role. The issue you have at the moment is they said tanks can single tank some fights, and the DPS they do is just absolutely unreal. It's you've got some pure DPS classes that just cannot keep up with them, and that shouldn't be how. If you're a tank, you're a tank. You're a tank because you're there to take damage and not do a lot else. You're meant to taunt at the right time, interrupt to make sure the raid doesn't die, so you can keep aggro. You're not meant to be doing stupid amounts of DPS that makes most DPS in the guild look crap.
Yeah, you want them to focus on survivability after all. One of the tweet answers about Vengeance and tanking in general, although not specifically that I've written down, said that they're looking for tanks to do maybe 75% of the damage a normal DPS would do, which seems like a reasonable expectation to me.
Well, that is in my eyes, that's pretty much what most do anyway.
Yeah.
So again, it's just that decision that you were talking about. It's for me, that's what most do anyway. It's only on specific fires when they go completely through the roof. And on those specific fires, it's just a joke because there's no point having. You can easily just stack one tank DPS, healers can just go to sleep, and it just makes
It is insane with that because like we had earlier this week, we were raiding with our normal guild. We sometimes pinch other tanks, and we have people joining from another raiding higher up raiding guild. We're friends with them. But what was on the third boss, Nurashan?
yeah.
Basically for the last 10, 15, or 20%, something like that. It was basically just the two tanks because, well, everybody else died. We wiped because we had too many of the purple orbs up and they weren't getting picked up. But basically, the last 20% or something, 15, 20% was just DPS down by a monk and a Death Knight tank because they were so freaking OP and they can just do the DPS and survive. It's just, why would you stack anything else than tanks nowadays?
Well, of course, when you're in the raid at the moment, that's great because you get to kill the boss and move on.
Exactly. At that moment, it's great, but on the long term, you think think like, well,
Yeah.
why would you keep the normal composition of two tanks, two or three healers, and the rest DPS? Because if you can just stack certain, like back in the day, you could stack druids or whatever, and you'd get a lot farther than most guilds even. So yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, people still do it out of tradition, of course. So that helps some, but game design wise as well, it's just terrible. If extra tank, for example, would be better. So I'd say it's a pretty good, decision and I guess solution as well. So one of the other things going on right now with the tanks is, which I feel will also solve it, is that when it comes to some encounters, they, instead of using their proper tanking trinkets, they go over to DPS trinkets to again get more attack power out of that as well. It would be great for tanks to actually focus on surviving instead of getting those DPS trinkets to try and push for more DPS when they can already do so much through Vengeance and possibly die because of it. I'm not sure where I was going with that because that
Well,
doesn't really...
it's just the point of focusing. That's what
Yeah.
you're trying to
Yeah,
say. I think
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
the
you. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's welcome. That's what we're here for, huh?
Yeah.
But no, it's just the point of focusing where the tanks are focusing, and that's also a problem in the not just the problem with the tanks themselves, but also with like what Blizzard wants them to focus on. So if somebody can either go for the little bit of survivability or dish out 100k more DPS or whatever, just giving an example. Yeah, a lot of people go for the DPS because a lot of people like high numbers. Well, basically, almost everybody, I think. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, the squish is going to affect them in so many ways. I can't wait.
I think people are still. I don't know, but with the squish, people are so afraid of it. But I think they don't realize that everything will be squished. Okay, the only thing that's going to happen is the numbers will be smaller
Yeah.
in total, in general. That's it. That's everything. But that's a different point for a different time.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that really covers our perception of Vengeance. It is pretty straightforward, so let's just move on. Which means we're actually going to be doing some speculating. Now the following is a non-proven leak. There is nothing that says that it's true. However, it's fun to speculate, and a lot of things come from common sense. So we're going to use it to discuss how we look at the timeline for Blizzard games and Warcraft as well in the coming months. Let me just put it out on the screen. It's a forum thread from the MMO Champion website, and basically it would be the next big league for Blizzard franchises. So the first one is about Hearthstone, that the release date would be on April 14th, which, as far as I am concerned, is a pretty, common sense date. I mean, somewhere in April, May.
That makes sense. I think from what
Yes.
we've all looked at, and a lot of us play the game, and I think a lot of us have turned around and said the same thing regarding the game. So yeah, that'll make a fair bit of sense.
Yeah. Continuing with release dates, Warlords of Draenor release date on June 24th. It seems a bit early from the PvP stuff, but if it's true, yay. One thing to keep in mind though is that betas usually take 6 months, which means it would have to be in beta right now, or that the beta will be a lot shorter because, for example, there are new races and classes to balance around. So that might shorten the time needed for beta testing. How do you guys look at that?
Shouldn't that increase the beta testing if they have so many new stuff?
No, I think what they're saying that we've technically this time not got as much new
Yeah.
stuff. But yes,
Oh, like that, yeah.
yes, we've got the squish. Yes, we've got the new expansion. But normally we have a new classes, new mechanics, a lot of new skills. And this one, from what I can gather, we haven't really got many new skills. We haven't got a huge amount at all in changing the way the play style, apart from the squish.
No, and it's
So,
5 or 6 dungeons, 2 raid instances,
yeah,
1 PvP
It's all very
zone.
standard.
Exactly. There's nothing special about at Warlords if you think about it. The only real new thing is the garrisons.
There's no new gimmick, put it like that. No
Exactly.
headliner like Pandaren or Draenei and Blood Elves or whatever. No, there's not that this year. I think they want to go for more, a whole better, the picture as a whole,
Yeah.
to make it better than just focus on one or two things, which I think is better as a whole. But going back to the dates, yeah, like we speculated in podcasts a couple of months ago, I think, like with the PvP season, most of the times it is like the PvP season that it ends that it just ends before the release or just after the release. But you don't know if they might continue it through the release this time. Maybe they'll do a lot of things different. It's just speculation, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
Speculating is fun.
That's why we're here. That's why we have this podcast.
Exactly. So, how do you guys look at the possible Heroes of the Storm not being released if this leak is anywhere near the truth at all?
This year, you mean, not being released this
Yeah.
year? Yeah.
Yeah, not this year. Sorry.
Not released at all. Oh my god, no! I have to keep playing Dota. No.
I know. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. As long as they keep polishing it and make it a game that you can play well, and I won't fuss over it. As long as you can really play it from the get go, not like Dota with all the bugs it had in the beginning. I don't know about LoL because I never played that, but yeah, I'd rather have it done soon, TM, than now and that you bug out or whatever. So yeah. We'll see when it's done. Of course, I wanted to have it like now because I'm really waiting for the game. I really want to play it, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, one of the things from the recent Q&A, they said that the main thing they still had to get into play was basically the whole tech for players to be able to actually play the beta, have the servers up, have the reconnecting working, all that type of technology, which could take quite a few months to make. So I'm sure we'll see a beta this year, but for a game like Heroes of the Storm, which is a MOBA, but again, it's a Blizzard MOBA, so it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It could take more than 6 months of beta testing. I could see that taking quite a lot of time.
Yes and no. You've got to think about it. The Blizzard keep turning around and saying, "Yeah, we accidentally created this tower defense MOBA type thing. We created this, all this type of stuff." So if they did create it, in theory, they really should know what they're doing. It shouldn't take that long.
Well, they themselves didn't create it, but it was created within their Warcraft 3 editor.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. So I think there's enough stuff out there now. I know what you mean about getting everything, but there's enough stuff out there now that's similar. That means to me that they should quite easily be able to get everything ready themselves. They should be able to get everything sorted. So we'll see. I think I'd like it if it was here now.
I think we would all like to have it here now. We can't wait for Heroes.
It'd be so nice, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess we'll be playing Dota again after the podcast.
Well, you know,
Would
might
rather
have
play
to.
Heroes.
Yep.
Blizzard, wink wink. Next point kind of feels like, yeah, this has to be a fake. Dark Below is still the name of project name of Titan, and that the team has grown with 50%. We know for a fact that they said at BlizzCon that the Dark Below was not registered by Blizzard, and they also reduced the amount of people on the Titan team and put them to other teams like Warcraft. So at that point, you feel like, nah, this has to be fake. The earlier things are just based on common sense, and a lot of what's to come in this list, I don't think we'll go through all, is all just common sense, and some of it is just plain, well, excuse my French, bullshit.
That's cranky.
It's not cranky.
We've heard worse. So
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd take that one with a big grain of salt. Moving on, the Warlords of Draenor cinematic trailer is 70% finished, and it will be released 2 months before the release. Now, I honestly don't actually know. When was the trailer or cinematic trailer released for MoP? How many months before it came out?
I reckon that's not far off about right because I can remember none of us were really that excited by Mop
No.
up
The
until we
trailer
saw
was
the trailer.
awesome.
That's what I mean. None of us were really that excited by it. We thought, we'll play it out, it'll be alright. And then we saw the trailer and thought, that trailer's amazing.
Yeah, well, the only thing with MoP, it was more for me, get out of Dragon Soul. Get out of Dragon Soul. As quick as humanly possible.
Yeah, but I think you can now ask a lot of gamers the feeling that we all have about Siege of Orgrimmar now. Get out
Oh,
of
yes.
Orgrimmar. Get out of Orgrimmar.
Although I feel like for Orgrimmar, it came a lot quickly than even Dragon Soul. And Dragon Soul was, well, a drag. I know, stupid play of words, but it wasn't really that fun at all.
Yeah, and I think, yes, Orgrimmar's been fun, but it has got to stage where I just get depressed every time I think it's going to be another 6 months.
Such a sigh, LJ. Do you have?
no, yeah, I agree that I mean, of course, it's not Dragon Soul. Everybody hates Dragon Soul. That was the epiphany of
Evil.
awfulness of evil. Yeah, I was just gonna say just awfulness of the game. But I mean, we have 6 more months to go with trying to kill or killing Garrosh. I mean, that 6 months is a long time to keep trying to do those bosses. I mean, sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. But it's just, I don't know. We'll see. I can't. I'm just saying I don't like. I like Siege of Orgrimmar, but after a while it just gets boring, to be honest. And yeah, if it's gonna take on another 6 months, yeah, for you guys do heroic, so maybe it's a bit different for you. But it's just we're still trying to get Garrosh down, so we're still running through the first. What is it? 14 bosses.
Well, the thing for us is, yeah, we're on Siegecrafter. We are starting to get closer, well, close to the kill. Because for those that watch regularly know that we had to make some roster changes. So that set us back. But the thing is, if they would say, next week Warlords of Draenor comes out, or even just the beta, but then you can't raid anymore in the current live version, I'd be, okay, give me that Warlords of Draenor beta. I'll do it. I'll test it for those 12 to 16 hours a week if I have to.
Yeah.
It just didn't turn out as appealing or exciting as, well, Icecrown Citadel, for example. I didn't mind Icecrown Citadel for those, well, nearly 12 months. Whereas Orgrimmar, it's been 4 months, and I'm already like, I have to go into Orgrimmar again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's also because we've raided for that long and did so many different raids. That's just also the whole thing becomes more and more or boring, more easy. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
I think I already have that as well with a little bit with Siege of Orgrimmar, and I'm also play. I like to play other games as well, so I don't know. It's just I find it hard to log over to World of Warcraft to try and raid Orgrimmar again.
Oh yeah, definitely. And one thing I do want to say though, we've been Orkmart for 4 months now, and Hearthstone has gone into open betas. So for those that didn't get a beta invite yet, it'll have been a great way to play a new game that's still for Blizzard, and Blizzard could already start making money through the microtransactions of buying packs. So in that sense, Blizzard has given people to do something else now. So I'm really hoping that we'll just see Heroes of the Storm beta soon, even though I do have my doubts about that actually happening, because then that would give us, who have already played the Hearthstone beta for quite a while, and are already tired of it, at least I am, give us something new to do from Blizzard, because it's just all boring right now, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm at the stage now with Hearthstone where I log on. I do enjoy playing the game every now and then, but I'm just waiting for it to come out on my iPads or my iPhone. I'm just waiting for that now. To me, it's the perfect game for me just to play on the bus, play while I'm waiting for a few bits and bobs to happen. It's not a game that I really want to play all the time. I don't see the point in it. If I'm on PC, I want to be playing other games. I want to be playing, say, World of Warcraft. I want to be playing Civilization, Dota. All these games that we could be playing that are better. I mean, I've got Steam accounts, Origin accounts. There's a lot of random games that you can play on the PC that just think are just more worthwhile than playing Hearthstone. It is a mobile app game. That is the end of the day. That is what it is. It is going to be. That is where they are going to make the money. They're just testing it on the PC. I can guarantee as soon as they release it on a phone, on the laptop, people playing it on the PC will plummet because people just say, oh, I've got other things to do. It's the perfect game to play while you're doing something else. You don't have to concentrate on it.
Yeah, and it'll open the market for a whole new set of players. All casual players who don't like games like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, or anything like that, but do like just playing the casual games, like playing that stupid Candy Crush game and Angry Birds and whatnot. I'm sure those...
Angry Birds is so 2012, man. Come on.
Oh my god, man.
Oh my
I don't
god.
play either anymore. I haven't in a very long time. My point is, those people, I'm sure, will enjoy Hearthstone at least for a little while, and probably also use those microtransactions.
Yeah.
I think if it could possibly become Blizzard's biggest success since Warcraft.
I do have something that I do find quite funny, and this is going back completely random, nothing to do with half the stuff we're talking about, but it is something I learned yesterday. Was you mentioned Candy Crush?
Yeah.
The fact that the company behind Candy Crush has copyrighted the word candy.
Oh yeah, that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which it just made me chuckle. I was like, really? Even Microsoft aren't that stupid.
I believe it's trademark, not copyright, though.
Trademarked it. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah.
And they've already
because
tried.
It's not allowed. No games are allowed anymore with Candy Crush, and
No, it's nothing
not
to
for
do with
clothing
candy
either.
Yeah, you're not allowed. They're not allowed to put the word candy on anything. No, apparently.
Yeah, on games and clothing. Those are the two types of products it's not allowed for anymore.
So candy is still officially allowed to be called candy then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's something at least then. Wow.
Yeah. And to make things worse, seeing as we're talking about that subject anyway, they're also trying to... Hey, M&M's, the BB Messy Rocks M&M's. Thank you, Anders. They're awesome. But, no. What I was going to say was... Oh yeah, they also are trying to get the word saga, so that any game with the word saga in it won't be allowed either, which just blows my mind because saga can be used for so many different types of games. It
Yeah,
just
Saga has been used for 20, 30 years for games already. I mean, what
Yeah,
the
it's for
hell?
series of games, and they're trying to trademark it. What the flying f? I mean, for Candy, it's already insane, but for Saga, that's just a whole other level.
Yep. It's just they're taking it too far, man. Too far.
Companies are evil, even though
Or
we're all going to be working for them. um, so
moving
let's move
on.
on. Moving on, exactly. Continuing our Hearthstone chat. Moving a bit down the list, a Hearthstone expansion is in development. Isn't that a bit early?
Yes, I think as we said, it's definitely a tad early. Just
Yeah,
a,
I agree. I agree.
just a smidgen.
Okay, let's move on. This one's interesting. The team wants to launch expansions faster, but it is still a problem because there aren't enough good developers who apply at Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard, hello. I'm Mezzy, or rather Valentine. If you're looking for a developer, hit me up. Just saying.
Did you just do that?
Oh yes, I did.
He did that. He just did that.
God. I'm playing an undescript game at the moment with something that you call a giant death robot. I'm going to send it to your house.
But in all seriousness, though, isn't this a bit strange? Wouldn't there be so many talented developers who would want to work for a company like Blizzard?
It's a big. The thing is, it's a big industry. Money talks. Would Blizzard pay the money? You don't know. They might be saying that people can go some other places to get better pay. So it's a dog eat dog world, man. Dog eat dog.
All
Doggy,
right, if
doggy
you say
dog.
so.
A doggy dog or?
Dog eat dog.
I know.
Oh my
Jeez.
god. Translations.
British.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, no,
um,
but I would suspect that more people would want to work for Blizzard, but I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah.
it also depends on their recruitment methods, of course. And yeah, there's a lot of aspects nowadays. I mean, the market isn't that great as a whole, so if they'll probably go for the best. But if those best can get more money elsewhere, they'll go for that. So Blizzard also, I know Blizzard is still a big name, but they still need to promote themselves and not just assume that everybody will want to work for them.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the thing. You've got. Yes, there's a lot of people worldwide that play World of Warcraft, but there's a lot of people worldwide that do a hell of a lot more. And most of the people who play World of Warcraft aren't game developers.
No, they're not. And that is very true.
Oh, you sound depressed now.
Well, no, I am a developer.
Go,
so
Messi, go, Messi,
In
go.
that sense, I am determined to one day work for Blizzard, even if it does take a bit longer.
Go, Messi, go.
Yeah, vote for Messi. No idea why, but whatever. Let's move on. Let's do two more points because there are so many things in this post anyway. The first one is that it says that we'll get more information about new character models soon. But considering we already just had that, that could possibly be old. But the more interesting part of it is that it says 50% of them are done right now. That seems reasonable within common sense if they want to release it all with the expansion. Alright.
Yeah.
So, we're just both sitting there going, "Oh, shall one of us speak? I don't know."
Yeah. I hope Matt's gonna say something soon. No, he's not.
No, damn. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Don't know why we're all
Oh.
sound like gold member. That's slightly wrong.
I don't know as well. That's slightly worrying now.
I look for.
What was the question?
50% of character models done. Common sense, logic. Could just be
Um,
Bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's common sense with the time frame. They're releasing. I don't know if I've read it right, but isn't it going to try and release something per week now?
They do want to get out a series out of articles about the developing of the new character models. It doesn't mean that it has to be a new character model preview every week, but to at least give some insight into the process that they're going through. So
Yeah.
who knows if it's going to be weekly? Um, I don't think actually, because wouldn't we have had something else now? Did the human one come out last week? So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
I think so,
the
yeah.
human female came out last week. I think there were. I can't remember what the exact word. I think it was once every week, once every couple of weeks. I think they were trying to
yeah,
do an update or something like that with the models, and that would make sense with the time frame they're talking about. I think it'd be fair to, as you said before, to sort of show people what they've been working on and what the delay might be. So, yeah, I think that makes sense for the time frame.
Yeah.
yeah. So the last one to just quickly go over, the lead designer will be ... You will hear it in February. Okay, great.
Wow.
Wow.
Woohoo.
I mean, does that really matter at this point? Many more developers are active on Twitter now and actively communicating with the community.
It's good that people are actually communicating, but 9 times out of 10, the cinema I say, I do this job, I do this job, I do this job. If you do know officially who the main person is, it would be.
I would also. Isn't that also for them internally to have a lead designer, not just for externally
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah.
Because in a group like that, in a team like that, you always need a leader. Otherwise, it's going to be hell.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you always. That's just how people in humanity work. So yeah, but it's interesting to see who it will be, and yeah, where it will go from there, and how that person will lead the team.
So I guess if within the next month it is announced who the new lead developer will be, it is likely this leak is actually true. And if not, well then who knows? Um, I'm taking it with a giant mountain of salt. I'm assuming it's fake, but it's fun to talk about the timeline of the Blizzard games anyway, because we want to play them.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the topic. I mean, there's going to be so much stuff out there. There's going to be so much, so many people saying, "I heard this, I read this," and you never know. It's the biggest Chinese whisper on the planet. You just sit there going, "Oh, this is happening. This is happening." Oh, rubbish. That's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yep.
So it's good. It's part of the fun, really, trying to decipher which is true, which isn't. And some stuff like this post that's been done is just there to filter what everyone else has been looking for, to sort of add fuel to the fire. So it's entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on to the discussion point. What? We have a discussion point?
I know.
Yes, we actually have a discussion point. So let's get right into it.
We're talking about your mother again, aren't we?
Oh no.
Oh, he went there. He went there.
Yes, LJ loves to talk about mamas. I didn't know
Yo.
why.
Well, yo, mama.
Yo, mama.
Sorry. Let's just continue before it gets any worse.
Yeah. I mean, you do know who also watched this podcast, right?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay, thanks for that. Fucker. So, discussion point. Let's talk about the amount of raid mechanics. Wow, LJ, you're really enjoying this.
I am.
Wow.
Sorry. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
I'll,
I'll try
try-
again.
I'll try to refrain myself and act my age.
Oh God, we're doomed.
Oh man, I believe I'm the youngest of us three, and
You are. Yeah.
wow. Just
I'm
wow.
the what's the word to be
Senior
more
citizen.
Not senior. I think the responsible one.
Nice one trying to pull that one off there, Matt.
Yeah, I know.
Almost.
Yeah, just didn't quite convince us. That's all.
Probably, Messi being the youngest is the most responsible of
Yeah.
us three. I know damn well we two aren't, Matt.
Wow. Okay. Let's try this again. WoW Weekly stuff, guys. Fantastic.
Yep. Always on target. Always talking about the subject at hand. Yeah.
We're really pros at this.
Yeah, definitely. Always.
Yeah. So let's try this again. The amount of raid mechanics within the last few expansions. So over the past expansion or two, most raid encounters have gotten a lot more mechanics or gimmicks, and the ability bloat has definitely been noticeable in Siege of Orgrimmar. Just look at when you open the dungeon journal, for example. Holy crap, there are a lot of abilities. But another good example of gimmicks was the whole Firelands raid. Bosses, I guess the first one wasn't as much gimmicky, but all the other bosses up to Ragnaros were all about the gimmicks. Now, having raided in the Burning Crusade, I'm going to say something that might go against what you would expect of a heroic raider, and that's that there are often too many raid mechanics in encounters now. I really liked the simplicity of the earlier raids, where the difficulty of the encounters was more in just a few mechanics per fight or phase for the end boss, for example, and in the teamwork as well. A good example of this is the Netherspite, I believe he was called, in Karazhan, one of the optional bosses, where you had the 3 beams, and if a healer wasn't standing in front of the blue beam, or a mana user at least, or was it the green? One of them.
It was, yeah, I know what you mean. It was interesting fight.
Exactly. The tank had to take the red beam for aggro, and then tank switching. One tank goes in, the other goes out.
Yep.
All that type of stuff. And if you don't coordinate it right, and you get an additional debuff that makes you take damage or burns your mana. Those types of things were more common in the earlier Burning Crusade. Maybe a little of Wrath still as well, but
Don't forget Vanilla. Vanilla as well. That made the basis.
The problem is I didn't play Vanilla, so I
Yeah.
can't comment on it. But Vanilla, of course, that was the basics. Nobody really knew how to raid, and they had to learn. So anyway, those are the types of fights I enjoy or have enjoyed a lot more. So how do you guys really look at this? How do you feel mechanics have gone? Should they be as complex as they are now? Should there be so many abilities in a single encounter?
It depends. Some fights with a lot of mechanics make sense. I think they're getting to the stage now that I think we've said before, where they seem to be throwing mechanics at people just for the sake of throwing mechanics about, which is a bit of an issue in my eyes, because it's okay, fair enough. I can understand why they're doing it, because they've got a lot of stuff they need to do. They need to try and make it seem still fun for everybody, which is fair enough. But like, when I started, so I started back in Vanilla. I was not an original player. I started about 6 months before TBC came out, and I raided in the original fights, and they were hard. The damage that happened, they were hard. The mechanics weren't too complicated for the ones I did, but you have to think, you had stuff like Hacker where it had a couple of mechanics, but these mechanics were very fine. If you didn't do these mechanics properly, you would wipe, and that was the be all and end all. There was no, you could get lucky. It was, if you didn't do the performance correctly on that fight, you would die. You had the high priests. I can't remember one of them, but it was the one with the cats.
Zul'Gurub.
In Zul'Gurub, yeah. In Zul'Gurub, you had that one where, again, it was just a couple of main I think there was 3 main things it did. There was no tank debuffs. Yes, you had to wait for 3 Sunders and all that type. Wait for aggro. I liked those days. They were quite fun. Yelling for a salvation if you're going to jump over the tank. Those were the things you had to think about. It felt that back in the day that there was more thinking about how you were going to sort your character out, about how you were going to play your character in making sure you don't aggro, making sure you actually perform correctly. Now it just seems that if you want a DPS, it's a piece of piss. 9 times out of 10, the rotation set out for you. It's very, very simple, and do you know what I mean? It's just very, very simple.
Yeah.
And
They were simpler days.
yeah,
Back in the day, huh?
back in the day. Well, no, this
Back
is
in the day.
like with the rotations, just the DPS rotations now. But when it came to the actual tactics of the fights, they were quite, say, simpler days, but you were concentrating more about your own performance, maximising your character. Nowadays, it seems that they've simplified how you sort your character out, and to compensate with that, they're trying to throw every tactic they can see at you. We did a few introductions at some of the fights previously, and to me, some fights, the tactics are just completely pointless. They've just put tactics in for the sake of having tactics.
Yeah.
And that's where, at the moment, they're probably losing out because of that situation. There was no need to have so many tactics, but they just seem they like that particular idea and are throwing tactics our way.
Yeah, I'd be happy to see a patchwork every big raid instance have a whole bunch of health, make it do a lot of damage to the tanks, and that gives the healers again something to do. And then have the
You
really-
just saying we don't have anything to do now? Seriously? have you healed the Dark Shamans fight?
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I know, but still.
Yeah, it's. I think like with Dark Shamans is an ultimate.
I think that is the really one of the best fights you can use as a example. Now, I mean, the amount of stuff that goes on in that fight is completely insane. You have so much shit to worry about, and as a healer, it's just 9 out of 10 times I died because I wasn't paying attention because I was healing something, and I died because of green, purple, red, blue, some rainbow colored shit hits me. I mean, seriously, it's insane. I totally agree with what Matt's saying. It's just, I get that there's multiple ways to make a fight difficult, and Blizzard has chosen the way to make them more, intense, or maybe how do you say it, more difficult by making them more sophisticated. So you add more things, but there's so many more ways they could have gone. But I really like, you guys said that, I really like the all the tactics, but also like the gimmick. There are a few gimmicky fights nowadays, but for instance, I like spoilers, but this is going to be unpopular. Spoils, yeah.
You said
Spoils.
spoilers.
Oh no, sorry, spoils of war. That one's I meant, but
That's
I
an amazing fight idea. Spoilers of war. Kill
spoilers
things in
of war.
time or
Oh my
things
god,
get
no,
spoiled.
don't show me, no. But get through the 5 films without committing suicide, but or shutting down your computer. But no, I mean, like, I liked the gimmicky fights back in the day, like really gimmicky fights like chess. I liked chess event.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's just one fight in what was it? 11,
Karazhan.
12
Yeah.
dungeon.
Well, the thing,
boss
what you have to
dungeon.
understand is, I say, back in Karazhan, back in the whole of TBC, we're almost talking about we don't like fights with a lot of tactics. Well, no, what we're trying to say is that it's good to have a fight with tactics, with a lot of tactics that you need to learn, you need to sort out. That is good. That makes for good fights. That makes for a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? It's fun. My issue is, not to say that's 9 times out of 10, they have just thrown that many tactics at you nowadays, and a lot of the tactics sort of think, what's the point? Like back in
Abilities, not tactics.
well, abilities. Sorry, yeah, sorry. When I started, say, doing these fights, an example for me was Hacker. I can't remember everything it did, but the gist of that fight was, every now and then he targeted a character to life drain. If that character never had a poison on him, he would heal up quite a lot. if you killed one of the ads, one of the drakes, stood in the poison, then got poisoned, when he life drained you, he would kill himself. So that would do a vast majority of the damage. So for me, it's a very simple. That's a very simple ability list, but quite a complicated fight when you were doing it to get everything right, to get the performance down, and get everything down to a T. I think that's what we miss now. We miss simple hard fights. Now it's, as you're seeing, the ability list on most characters is completely insane. Especially when you get to heroic, it's hard. It's stupid enough on normal. When you get to the heroic, it's completely mental. It's just over the top and not really needed in a lot of the cases. Like even going back, and the problem is that's not just been this expansion. That's been the last couple of expansions. You look at your favourite raid message, Dragon Soul.
Oh dear God.
And
Well, Dragon Soul. I mean, the Blob guy didn't have much going for him. It was just kill Blob.
yeah, the Blob guy wasn't. The Blob guy was, but say that sort of. I'm trying to use Dragon Soul as an example because that did both. And some of the fights in there were actually nicely designed fights because I like the attraction fight. As you said,
Oh yeah.
that is the patchwork fight of, I think, Dragon Soul, because it's such a simple tactic. You have to admit it is. It's such a simple
Click a
tactic.
button.
Click a button. Healers get a healing increase. That was what you did. The big tactic for that fight was to click a button, and the amount of people who failed to click their button, it was unbelievable.
Oh, sometimes sometimes you have one of those days that people just, what button, or it's not showing up, or oh shit, I
That's
was
an issue though.
a second too late or something. Yeah, but it's just one of those days, But it's like you just knew those fights. You just knew who was holding you back
Yeah,
Yeah.
by not clicking a freaking button.
and that's what I liked about those fights because of that situation, because they were like that, if you know what I mean. That just for me made a lot of sense because it was pretty simple. It was a pretty simple fight that was rather annoying.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that's what that's what we have missed in this expansion. You look at every single fight. I can't think now of a fight. People might listen to this think we're talking complete rubbish, but they probably think that most days. But
I'm listening to this and it's already completely rubbish. But
yeah. If we look at most of the fights realistically that we've done in this expansion, if you just go down the list now, Immersius, not many tactics on normal, few more on heroic. That's probably not a bad one. Then you've got blood. Then you've got the three amigos. I forgot what they're called.
Fallen Protectors.
Fallen Protectors. That's it.
Each have a desperate.
Each has their own list and all this stuff.
2 to 3 abilities.
And that just seems, oh yeah, we'll throw loads at you. And yes, the tactic for doing the fight is very simple, but there's just stupid amounts of abilities thrown at you. Then you've got Nourishing and all this type of stuff, and again, there seems to be a fair bit of stuff thrown at you. Then you've got Pride, again, a lot of things to worry about. You've got an ads, especially on heroics. When you go on heroic, you've got banishment, ads, tears, tank damage, raid damage. If you don't do it, there's just a lot of things, and they just seem to be wanting to throw everything at people. Which, okay, fair enough. Some people like that. I just think they need to try and get back to what it was in TBC, where they can just relax a little. Where it's not such a roar of tactics. As you say,
Yeah.
as LJ said, Dark Shamans. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, before, because part of the problem we'll talk about in a minute, but LJ, you haven't said that much about the subject, I feel. That's mostly been talking.
Yeah, but I don't have anything to disagree with, man. I mean, that's what he's saying is all the truth and what I feel about it as well. I think I would like to play devil's advocate, but I can't for this part because I totally agree.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. in whatever expansion, which is your most favorite boss? Which is perfect mechanics wise, tactics wise, personal performance wise, and teamwork wise? Which boss has the perfect mix?
The worst thing for me,
Missed.
I'm
Right, yeah.
going. I'm going. Oh, you talking about just Mr. Pandaria or everything?
No, all expansions
Oh,
or
geez.
vanilla.
My personal favourite fight, and this is partly due to the fact that it was. This is actually probably one of the most complicated fights, going slightly against what I was thinking, but it's just because of. How do I put it? I think the last boss of a dungeon should be the fight that is hard. Should be the fight that
The
you're,
challenge is you.
which is a challenge.
Yeah.
And the one that I feel matches everything I wanted in the fight was Lady Vash.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
loved that fight. I absolutely loved that fight. We did so much on it, and it was such a fun fight to do. It's just I'm trying to remember all the tactics now, but you've got all the tactics of find the ad at the bottom, do this,
Throw it to other
throw it to
people.
other people. So you had to get the teamwork, the execution of that fight had to be perfect. But I just like the fact that there was so many different stages of the fight, and everyone was separate to the last one. Where now they're sort of merging together, but it was the last fight of that area. If you know, it was the last fight of that dungeon. It should have been hard, but it wasn't. It wasn't sort of like Arthur's hard. It wasn't Ragnarok's hard. It was hard. It was a challenge. It took people a fair bit of time to do, but it was the last one. And then you get to Tempest Keep. I like those two dungeons. I like Tempest Keep, and I like Serpent Shrine Caverns. They're my two favourite dungeons because of the way they link together as well. They work really well.
Okay. And LJ, you've had some time to think.
I am gonna say probably I really really liked Algalon.
Algalon. That's
Yeah,
interesting because he
yeah,
has a decent amount of mechanics going
he
on
does,
at
but
the same time.
he does, but I think they are pretty well streamlined. I think that fight was really thought through well, and that it was really well. It was one of it was the fight of the instance, except for Yoxron Zero Protectors, of course.
Oh yeah.
But that is a close. That's in my top five at least. The Algalon without without any protectors, because that was, that was so much
That's
fun.
heroic hard.
That's
Good.
really heroic hard. That was one of the challenges ever, except for like Lich King or something like that. But I don't know, Algalon. I just liked it very much with how new it was and what it presented to the player, and it was the optional boss. But again, it wasn't if you were a real raiding guild. And I don't know, it's just it's everything together. I just also like the room and everything around it, and Algalol itself as this celestial being.
His lore.
Yeah, exactly. The lore behind it. It's just, I don't know, the whole. With if you go for the whole picture, for the whole everything around it, I think Algalon was one of my favorites of all time. So yeah, I mean like Lich King, getting the first kill on the server. That's still the most. That's my most memorable moment from World of Warcraft ever.
Yeah.
That
I
I
think
think
for all
I
three
think
of us.
exactly
Yeah.
for all three of us. I think when we got that achievement, that was really.
Wow.
I
Mind blowing.
remember actually literally screaming through the house here that we actually got him. I just my parents and my brother were like, "Okay, what the hell?" But it was really like, yeah, that was the moment.
I
Yeah.
can remember that fight for one other thing.
Yeah, me falling off the fucking edge.
Doing phase one, me and LJ here on the same size, and all I can hear is, "I
Yeah.
can see my house from here."
I died so many fucking times to that explosion thing. I can't even remember its name anymore. But yeah.
Oh man, that was great.
I later find out that I just it was some latency issues I had, seriously, because I then installed the Liatrix
The
latency.
latency fixer.
I hadn't fixed. I had a new computer by that time, I think, and I hadn't installed it yet.
Ah.
So that's it. It's not. It helps a bit, especially with fights like that. So yeah. Anyways, for that, but I don't know. It's
That's yeah.
just there's a lot of fights that we'll all remember as being awesome. I mean, like I said before, chess event because it was so weird at the time. It wasn't a real fight. It was playing chess against an AI with other chess pieces. It was really weird, and but also others like also from Karazhan, like the opera event, never knowing what you're gonna get,
Oh yeah,
just like
that's really
chocolates.
fun.
Yeah.
And the fights themselves didn't have so many things to remember.
No, exactly. They were. It was each time a different fight, but the fight itself wasn't. Each of them individually weren't that
It
difficult.
was more fun than difficult.
Yeah, and
I,
but I also agree with what Matt said. Fush was also a very fun fight. It wasn't one of my personal favorites, but it was still a lot of fun. Out of I don't know. I think the out of Sherperside Cavern. What's that guy's name? The lurker below. I think that was
Oh, yeah.
the one with the spout that just went
yeah.
in a circle. That was pretty fun as well. I
Now
think
that's making use of the environment.
exactly that everybody had to move away, and then when he goes down, that you have to go to the island and defeat the Naga, and then come back, and it's just I don't know. And nowadays, I don't you don't have that feeling anymore with some of these bosses. I
It's
mean,
not interactive.
no. I mean, like with for example, Thok. It's basically just running away and killing stuff.
Well,
That's the whole fight.
Siegecrafter is very interactive. I can
I'm
tell
not
you
gonna believe that I don't
after.
have that. I haven't done on heroic. On normal, it's already interactive. I think that's one of the more
Yeah.
fun fights in the whole instance, if not the most fun.
Well, the fun is debatable. You,
Which
Yeah, but
fight?
that's
you
that's,
tried
that's heroic, and you're a hunter, so you have the shit job.
you
Which fight?
tried
Oh,
doing the
Siegecrafter.
belt for 4 hours
Siegecraft,
straight.
yeah.
Yes, because that at least is interactive with the environment. But Lich King aside, because I was going to name it as one of my favorites, I'm kind of cheating because I have two. Is High King Malgar, first boss in Gruul's Lair.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Chicken!
mechanics
With the
are
full
amazing,
package.
so diverse. Having to use your class abilities, taking shields away,
Yeah.
enslaving the demons as a warlock, and even though there are many things actually happening in that encounter, it's all depended on your role, and you actually then only had to deal with one or two mechanics at the same time.
It
You
wasn't
had
like the whole like 25 people focusing on one thing. No,
yeah.
it was a group, one or two of group focusing on that, and then other people who were focusing on the other thing. So everybody was like in their own group, and they were doing their own thing. And once they had their thing finished, they could go
They
on
could
the hike.
join the others and
Exactly.
enter that part of the fun as well.
Yeah.
Hiking Malgar is going to. I'm going to remember that as a really, really, really fun encounter for the rest of my life. It's just so enjoyable, and I'd love to see it come back in Warlords of Draenor. Retcon it for all I care.
Well, one thing like we've all said, I know we've all named back in the day quite complicated fights, and I know this is all what we're sort of talking about. Is it actually a bit mental having too many tactics? These trying to explain my thoughts on these. These are all fights that have been described where, yes, they were a challenge. Yes, there may have been a fair few tactics there and then, but each one of them was sort of there for a reason. He didn't have that many tactics. I reckon if you look at some of the fights, it's that if you look at some of the fights on heroic nowadays, you look at the amount of abilities. I might be off. I think I'm probably right on what I'm thinking on this. That you probably had more tactics on one fight now, or more abilities, sorry, on one fight now, than you did on some of them. It all started for me at the beginning of the last expansion. It all started in
Omnitron.
Omnitron, yeah. From they all each fight in that sort of. Again, they were trying to get the gimmicks. There were some fights that worked, and there's some fights that didn't, and I think that's what they're trying to test. I don't. It does feel like they're still trying to get the balance right, and hopefully, it can be sorted. So, as I said, personally for me, they just need to make fights simple but hard. Sometimes you don't need to have mental mechanics that will wipe each other. Sometimes you just need a boss fight to have 3 mechanics. And it will wipe you if you don't perform. That's all it needs.
Yeah.
You don't need to be in the situation you are at the moment where they think, well, those 3 mechanics might wipe you. Let's put another 10 in just to make sure it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's the problem, because I said we were going to get in one of the culprits in this, and that's add-ons. Deadly boss mods, big wigs, they all provide the player with so much information that the encounters from before become quite trivial, and so you could just pilot through it.
Well, we can't say this. It's okay ourselves saying this, but we have to remember one thing in that subject.
Mm-hmm.
We were once in Bridge Burners,
You're referring to Olog, aren't you?
and we did once have Olog.
Who made add-ons himself.
Which one? What was the one called? that
AVR.
got banned? Oh yeah, AVR.
The only
Yeah.
person I know ever to have created an add-on for World of Warcraft that they didn't ban because they couldn't ban it, they just broke it.
Yeah.
Specifically changed something in the game to break an add-on.
Yeah, that's something I'm actually still quite proud of. That we were in the guild with. He was our raid
That
leader.
person. Yeah.
That's something that's really fun to remember as well.
True.
I'm so sad he retired when he did.
So sad what happened with Bridgeburners as a whole, but yeah.
Get the violin out.
Bygones be bygones, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, yes, that was really
I
enjoyable.
had a dream.
And I've written an add-on as well to solve a hunter issue when the 4.0 patch came around on Lich King. Is there something wrong, LJ?
Just mention where I can download it and then let's get it over with.
No, I'm not going to do that because...
If you didn't know this, people, he has an add-on.
And you can download it from Curse, if I'm correct.
You can
Yes,
download
but
it from
that's... I wasn't going to go there at all, because really the add-on isn't really that relevant anymore unless you PvP. So, if you're hunting you PvP, great, go download it. It'll tell you what you drank.
Stop slanking. Stop slanking.
Slanking, yeah.
Slanking.
Stop slanking and make a new one.
You know, I've thought about it, and there are... I'm just...
You need to
can't be
create.
bothered.
You need to create one that can heal a fight on its own, so I can go AFK.
No, I think that's a bad idea, and not even possible. You still need to press the buttons.
Nah, trust me, macros.
Make an add-on for that then.
Yeah, make an add-on for that. I can get my cat doing it. Get an add-on that just puts like some bit of food that makes one of my keys hover to look like food or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Alright, guys in Orem, Matt's gone, Dipstick is in.
Yep. Matt's gone. Dipstick's healing this one.
I'll probably do a better job anyways.
Probably would.
I was going to make another joke, Matt.
Then I'll get
I'll
Sasha to heal for LJ.
I'm not even in Orem.
So
Doesn't matter then anymore. His
Sasha's-
cat's playing.
Sasha's the hardcore cat.
Oh, okay.
She'll kick your ass.
Wow.
She'll kick your ass, Mother Hubbard.
But
So that was the end of the podcast.
I didn't say that. I said Mother
well,
Hubbard.
any last words on the add-on issue? Its influence on how
Yeah,
it
actually,
has to be created. The
Did we-
raid encounters.
did we go off the topic again?
Yes, we did.
Never.
That is an issue, but at the end of the day, the only reason we have to have add-ons now is sometimes to keep track of all the abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds silly, but there's certain cooldowns. The UI isn't particularly very good. If you didn't have any of these add-ons and use the basic Blizzard UI, it wouldn't cope. It is not a very good UI.
Not
So
anymore. You used to be okay with it, but now if you don't have DBM, GTFO.
yeah,
Pretty much.
Hmm?
Pretty
no,
much, yeah.
yeah, it's just it's one of the things you need one of the boss timers now to keep tabs of everything, and it's a shame because I'd like to play one. I've played games with when you don't have all these add-ons and stuff like that, and the fun fights, and the dungeons are quite fun, and it just lacks a little bit at the moment. You do need it. They luckily there isn't an add-on like AVR anymore, because even though love Olog to bits when I was in Bridgeburners, love AVR was an amazing add-on. It completely trivialized at least 3 fights. I mean,
Senior Gosa, definitely.
Professor Putricide and one of the other ones as well on that side, the one with the blobs. Can't remember what it's called.
Fester Gut or Rotface.
Rotface, that's the one. When the ooze exploded, you could just literally walk. You didn't have. You could make one before you'd run all the way to the right. This time, make one step to the right. You know you weren't going to die.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. LJ, any last thoughts?
Yeah, but I don't think I should share them on the podcast. So.
Okay, in that case, thanks for watching. This was WoW Weekly episode number 20. Please click the subscribe button if you want to keep up with when new videos come out. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the episode, and if you have any ideas as to... Wow, LJ.
What's the matter?
Nothing at all. If you have any ideas as to what you want us to discuss on the discussion points, also hit us up in the comments. And lastly, click that like button. Oh, wow.
I'm not showing. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's showing a body part. People.
Okay. If you don't have Facebook, if you don't have a YouTube account, if you do, by the way, you can also.
You stupid.
What?
If you don't have a YouTube account, you stupid.
Anyway, I'm going to try this again for the 3rd time. Let's see how many tries it takes this time.
LJ, Charles not this time.
You can.
I'm not even doing anything now. Just end it.
I'm trying to. You can also follow me on G Plus or WoW Weekly on G Plus.
Or in the taxi behind you.
You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/WoWweekly. Or you can follow me, but it really just goes for the whole group, at twitter.com/bbmezzy. And then finally, you can also just keep up with us on our website, wowweekly.net, where we try to post daily or otherwise every other day news or our news article. I just said so, or an editorial or something like that. I was still supposed to bring out a thought guide. Sorry, I'm really busy in real life right now, so I haven't been able to do that yet either. What you can find soon on the YouTube channel is the second Shoutcast episode. I had my practice on the first one, so I hope I'm going to be doing a lot better a job at the second episode. I should be able to. And yeah, I think it's time to end it. LJ's tired. The poor boy needs to go to bed.
Alcohol.
So
It was a term.
exactly. So thank you for watching. Thanks to my co-hosts LJ and Matt for joining.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you guys again next time. Damn you, LJ.